All right, guys, the watch list for Friday, April 15th. If you struggled at all today or you were bored today, you can look at the SPY and see today's candle doesn't even look like a candle. It looks like a little plus sign closed about where it opened. Thanks to Wayne in the chat room today, I had a really nice day. Wayne, one of our moderators, called. We already had Weight Watchers WTW on watch and just called it. This was about 10 minutes in. Looked like this. Called it long over 1550. Worst case stop, a little bit more than a dime below, right? And I got long at 1551 and scaled out into this move. Already had my daily goal. Wayne also gave us ARGS over this little tight flag here. He called this long over 10. Worst case stop's going to be about 20 cents below. Thing goes to 1150. So even though the SPY didn't do much today, we still did a good job. In this case, Wayne did a great job, but we, as a group, we still did a good job of weeding out some really nice low risk, high potential trades. All right, and then after that, things got really boring. As a matter of fact, I ended up finding myself in a Twitter battle with a socialist Bernie Sanders person because somebody tweeted out the federal income tax rate, from like 100 years ago till now and how bad it's gotten. And so I made a comment on that, and then a Bernie supporter jumps on me. And, I don't know. This is what happens when you have nothing to trade, right? But I will say this. If you are a grown-ass man and you're a Bernie Sanders supporter, I don't know what the hell's wrong with you, but I just can't get my head around that. And if you're a college student, I kind of get it because you're getting promised free college. But if you think about it, really you're just wanting free college, and then that's so you can get a degree, and then you can get a degree and you want to go out and earn a bunch of money and become a capitalist. So you can't really be more selfish if you think about it than a Bernie Sanders person. And by the way, I don't think the guy ever worked a day in his life. And I have a theory on that. I actually think a guy like Bernie Sanders is so terrified of actually working, doing the grind, the day-to-day, and actually having to get up every morning and earn a paycheck, that guys like him figure out early on that, wait a minute, if I just rile other people up and tell them all the injustices that are happening to them, I might be able to find a way to make a living out of it and never have to work myself. And I honestly think that is like the number one fear of somebody like Bernie Sanders, is actually working for a living, which I don't believe he's ever had to. And then this guy on Twitter, accuses me, almost calls me silver spoon and I'm greedy and all this and that. And none of that could be further from the truth. Guys, I worked 23 years on an assembly line for General Motors, all right? And a big chunk of that, I had an air card from Verizon and a laptop. And I would do my job, and none of my bosses ever bothered me because I made sure and it did a great job, so they couldn't have any ammo and say, hey, that laptop made you miss this job or miss a bolt or whatever. So I was a really good worker, but I always knew that I could be my own boss if I studied and studied and studied. So I studied stock market, and I had an air card, sometimes losing my signal, always studying charts. And it's supposed to give 45 seconds. You get a new car, the car's slowly moving. If you've ever seen an assembly line, every 45 seconds you get a new car. And so you're kind of walking and doing your job. Well, I got to the point where I got so good at my job, I could do it in maybe 37 seconds, right? And then I would work ahead and do the next one. You had the air hose with the little coily, stretchy air hose, so you could work ahead a little bit. So if I did 2 or 3 jobs and stretch that air hose as far as I could earn myself about 35 seconds to sit there on my laptop, and look at charts and always learning, because I knew I wanted better for myself. So anyone that thinks silver spoon or I'm greedy, no, I always worked my ass off. And by the way, my mom was basically a single mom. My dad was a compulsive gambler and a compulsive cheater, so she was a preschool teacher feeding me and my sister on that, and then worked at Watlow Electric in Maryland Heights, Missouri, at night, using machines to build electric coils and just to keep me and my sister in clothes and so on. So there's no silver spoon here, but I have no sympathy for anybody who just is out there screaming, hey, everybody there's an injustice. The world owes you. This person owes you. Man, on my Twitter feed, I posted a link of a video by Inky Johnson. Go to that if you have time and watch his best video ever. And super inspirational. And I said today on Twitter, if Inky Johnson felt entitled as a young man, if everyone was telling him in his life, don't worry, you don't have to work your ass off, this person owes you, the government owes you, these rich people owe you, he would have never done and never become the man that he is. So I just don't have any sympathy for anybody saying you're entitled. You know what? If you're down and out and somebody's telling you you're entitled, it's not your fault. They're really not your friend. A real friend tells you there's nothing you can't do. And you'll never hear that out of Bernie Sanders. He never tells people there's nothing you can't do. He just tells people this person and these people owe you because they're doing better than you. So something to think about. I did not mean to get off on this for my watch list video. So there you go. There's the SPY. And let's go to the watch list real quick. Here's what I'm going to be watching tomorrow. STX got slapped pretty good today, but it has lows from recent lows, sort of from January down here, close to 26. What I'd like to see tomorrow is an open and a flush below 26, and then I'll be looking for a reversal and a snap back up. So that's kind of what I'm looking for there. Fitbit had a nice breakout yesterday. Quiet inside day on lower volume today. I'm going to be looking for a potential third day play higher tomorrow. VRX. VRX, let me show you on 5-minute candles here. Got a nice spike in the afternoon and then just kind of tailed off, closing at 32.36. But I noticed in after hours it's at 32.91 right now. So it's not exactly ripping, but I want to watch this one for a potential push higher. If you look at the daily, a lot of shorts in this one. It's pretty beaten up. Get that line off of there. So that is one to watch for a potential move higher. GBSN, now you can't tell anything by looking at this chart, but I noticed that in after hours it's trading at 375. So let me zoom in so you can see. So it's trading right about here in after hours. And it's a very low float. So this one is a potential squeezer tomorrow. Obviously it had some after hours news. That's probably one of my favorite candidates for a rip higher tomorrow, but it always depends on how it opens and how it trades after the open. LEI put in a nice green candle today at the 8-day. I'm looking for a follow-through on that bounce. LL, Lumber Liquidators. I liked this a lot today over yesterday's high, and it just didn't quite get going. But a lot of times you'll have that after a nice big move. And you had let's go back to the daily. You had a big move here, and then kind of a quiet day near yesterday's high. So a lot of times you get that, and this might come in for a couple days and it might rip, but having it on a chart will allow us to see what's going on tomorrow. CSII still flagging, no trades in that today, but I still like it over 14. ORPN, again, this is another one. It's trading at 262 in after hours, and remember, this isn't even an errant tick. It actually went up to almost $8 this day, and then it's done really nothing ever since, but there seems to be some interest in it lately. And I'm not sure what's going on if it had news after hours, but today's high was 250 and it's trading over that. And if you look to the left, there's not a lot in the way, so this one might do another one of those little short squeezes tomorrow, depending on if it has news, so I want to watch it. And finally, DRWI, nice pop today. Had a huge move back here. It seems to have found support between 6 and 650, so this one might be higher from here. And we will work together as a team in the chat room looking for potential gappers tomorrow as well and play those like we teach. So I'm going to leave it at that. Enjoy the rest of your evening, and we'll talk to you tomorrow.